Okay, for those of you who've never heard of or seen the HotBox that I've referred to, I thought I'd film it so that you can at least know what I'm talking about. Now, it's important that it's set up correctly or it just will not function. It'll either be non-functional or only partial, so you've got to get it right. Now, it's suspended on a wire which is easily removed. It's just hooks, and the wire is plenty strong enough to hold it. It's not heavy, and basically this is the tray that fits inside. I'll just lift this out because I want to turn the unit upside down. Now, in there you put the sulfur, the special sulfur granules, and there's a line on there which that's the level it needs to be at, not below, not above. And you can see that the crystals are just very slightly on the line or very slightly above, but they're going to melt. Underneath is the previous stuff that I've used. It doesn't go off, it continues to work, it evaporates. So obviously the level goes down over time and you top it up again, which is what I've just done. Now, in here is the hot plate. Now, it's nothing complicated. It's a very simplistic unit. It's just got power goes in and then it heats up that plate, which is thermostatically controlled to be at a set temperature. And it's the temperature that will melt those crystals. Let's put them back in. It melts the crystals and heats them up to a given temperature, which is why the amount of fluid in that tray is important, yeah? And when it gets to that temperature, it starts to evaporate. And because the plate is underneath the tray, heat comes up round the sides of the tray. And it forms a chimney. It forms a column of warm air rising with the evaporated sulfur fumes within that column of air. Now, that's as simplistic as it is. That is it. The construction, the apparatus needs to be set up correctly. The level needs to be right. The unit needs to be upright. The tray needs to be sat firmly on the heat plate, not at wonky or at an angle. In the middle, everything ready to go. And the only other thing that's compulsory is the unit must be at least a metre away from any roofing or apparatus. So as you can see, I'm well below the roof. Yeah, so that's ready to go. It's got no on-off switch. As I said, it's very, very simplistic. You plug it in, it starts to heat up, and the crystals melt. And then it just works, and you just leave it running for an appropriate amount of time. Now, to function very, very well, the unit in which it's working, which in my case is the grow room, could do with being airtight. Now, obviously airtight is almost not achievable in the sort of units we'd be talking about, greenhouses. I wouldn't recommend doing this in your house because you've got to be able to ventilate. You know, when you've finished using the unit, hang on, let's let Trouble in. He's the reason, well, him and me, but him specifically is the reason why this is awkward to use, because the only way Mojo can get in and out is through the conservatory. Obviously, once I turn the hotbox on, that's it. He can't go out. He's stuck indoors. So, you know, hopefully he remembers to use his litter tray, which he does forget sometimes, which is why I'd prefer him to go outside. But he is the nuisance. If it was just me, it wouldn't matter. And then this door, the door back into here, basically that gets shut across there, and I use masking tape around the edges. Now, that doesn't make it airtight, but it's not bad. There's very little smell in the lounge. And then for safety reasons, I can turn it on, come over here, shut the door and put the tape on. That's okay, but I can't take it off that way, yeah? Because if I take the tape off to get back in here, the fumes are still in here. So what I do is I go round the house and come in through this door, yeah? So I open the door wide, take a deep breath, outside, not inside, come in here and unplug it to turn it off, turn this fan on full, and then go back out. And then I leave it to ventilate. It's it's an oscillating fan. It'll push all those fumes out the door. Yeah, takes a while. So, it can't be freezing cold outside when I do it, which is why I'm doing it this afternoon. The reason I'm doing it this afternoon, it's before the cold spell that we're about to get. Because I have to remember that the ventilating process is 4 hours after I start using it. Yeah? So I've got to anticipate that with that door wide open and the fan blasting away, it's not too cold. Yeah? So, it's something that's going to be difficult to do midwinter when it's only a few degrees outside. That's not on, is it? So, I'm taking advantage of this little period now. So this is the first time I used it for quite a long time, because when it's warm in here in the summer months with the sun and everything, I need the fan on. I need the air movement. The lower temperatures now, I can do without the air movement for half a day. So that's it. That's how it works. As I said, it is incredibly simplistic. Whoever thought up the idea, but it's the mechanics of it are geared up to the heat is underneath the tray to melt the stuff to a given temperature. It's below boiling point. It doesn't get to boiling point. There's no fire. There's no flames. Yeah, there's no smoke. Because it's dangerous, sulfur. It basically brings it up to a melted temperature below boiling point, and then it evaporates very slowly and is picked up by the column of air generated by the heat plate round the outside of the tray in this gap. So the column of air comes up there, draws the fumes up with it, and then just spreads out. But it does need that clearance above it to form that chimney effect. So that's it, that's what it's all about, and it does the job. When I was using it regularly, I couldn't find any scale in here. I certainly had nothing else. There's no spiders anywhere, no mealybugs, no aphids, nothing. It does the job. But it needs reasonably regular use, and my scale is starting to appear again on the usual suspects: black hair type dendrobiums, cattleya types, and in the sheaths and leaf bases of oncidium types. So most types really. I've even got some on one of my Paphiopedilums at the moment. So that's what I'm up to. I've got to go and bank the takings from from Saturday's Orchid Society meeting. So I'm going to set this off, seal up the room. Mojo's just been out, so he'll go to sleep for most of the afternoon, so it shouldn't be too much of an inconvenience for him. And then I'm going to have a bit of lunch and go off up to the post office and do the money and everything. And then obviously there'll be no entry in here until later this afternoon when I ventilate the place, get it all going. So that's how it works anyway, for those of you who've wondered what on earth I've been talking about. That's it, that's the unit. Simple to use, simple to operate, providing you follow the instructions. Because if you don't, if there's not enough liquid in here, then you won't get much evaporation, or you'll get too much. Same as if the liquid's too high. It needs to be where it says, and it needs to be dead center. It needs to be flat on that heat tray. Yeah, all that needs to be right, or it just doesn't work properly. And it does need that clearance above it and the ability to draw in air underneath. The cooler air comes in underneath and the heat plate pushes it up to make it rise and circulate with the fumes from the melted liquid. So that's it. See you next time. Let's just hope it works. Well, it has done in the past. I see no reason why it shouldn't do this time. But it will take several sessions, because obviously it's geared up to things at the moving around stage. It does. I don't think it kills eggs, because eggs don't technically breathe. It kills anything that needs to breathe, basically. So eggs that haven't hatched yet, you have to repeat, you know, you have to catch. That's the same with most things really, isn't it, with sprays and things like that. But yeah, so this will need repeating. So when you do it regularly, you don't need to leave it on for so long, you know. And the thing that's worried me is most people said, why don't you leave it on at night? Because first thing in the morning, Mojo needs to go out, you know, especially if he hasn't been out all night and he's getting desperate. And I can't just open the door and let him out, not without ventilating first. And it wouldn't be fair on him to, you know, the outside door's wide open and he can't go out. You know, he would wonder what's going on. And I like to come out here first thing in the morning as well. So yeah, I don't. And I'm also not that fussed on leaving it unattended. I know I'm going to go out this afternoon, but you know, but yeah, it's all lined up, dead centre. You know, dead centre in the grow room, at the maximum height for the ceiling, and we will give it a go today. And then we're getting quite a cold snap for the rest of the week. So we will batten down the hatches, and probably the heater will start coming on at night. And, you know, it's autumn. It's officially autumn as from this week, I believe. I don't mean officially. I mean, I'm declaring autumn this week because it's going to turn cold. So anyway, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.